This is the commentary box.
To me, tweeting was something that birds did.
Dilly din, dilly dong, come on!
Éder vai aguentar bem, encosta e falta apoio ali sobre o lado direito, sai remate e o gol!
From a yard out, he couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. And the celebrations begin.
Hello and welcome to the commentary box. Of course, you are joined by me, Sam, and
Jake. Very excited for, I think it's our 8th one now.
yes, our 8th podcast. Can you believe it?
It's gone fast.
Yes, it has. Now, we had a bit of a football weekend, didn't we?
We did. We were very active within the community, some would say.
Yes, we took part in the People's FA Cup, which we something we'll be talking about later. But elsewhere, I went to go see Swansea at the Amex down in Brighton for the first time I've ever gone to the Amex. And a local team to me, said Brighton. And I've been waiting for 5 years for Swansea to play them in the Premier League at the Amex. And they went and lost 4-1.
Great.
But it was a great day out, great atmosphere, great pies there. I had a steak and ale pie. And
I did get one before and I did enjoy it. I will recommend them.
They are very good pies in Brighton. But shame about the result, to be honest. But great day out. So I think we're going to have a bit of a shorter episode today. We're going to be focusing on the Carling Cup with Manchester City's victory over Arsenal. Then we put a poll on Twitter asking you whether you think Manchester City will win the treble this year. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking a bit about the People's FA Cup. But with no further ado, we'll hand over to Jake for the kind of match report.
Yeah, so on Sunday we had the League Cup final, Arsenal playing Manchester City. Finished 3-0 in the end. Aguero, Company and Silva all getting goals there. If I can remember correctly from the highlights, Aguero's goal was a long kick from Ederson. He actually got the assist for it, and it was just a gentle nudge from Aguero behind Mustafi. No complaints really that Mustafi really should have said anything to argue against if it was a foul or anything. And then ball was bouncing, Ospina is in no man's land and he just chipped him.
Yeah, I think on that point, I think Gary Neville during the commentary was talking about how it's almost like 12-year-old football.
Yeah, it was just sort of schoolboy defending and just sort of really something that even at when I see Gillingham play every now and again, I will think, come on, you've got to be stronger than that.
It did not look good in the in play. It just bounced over his head, and he thought he got a push, but it wasn't even really a big push. And it just needs to be better than that, especially in a cup final, because these are the games that kind of make and break your career.
Yeah, and if you're
Mustafi's not really put the effort in there.
If you're doing that, even if you do that happens, you don't stand there and complain to the ref and walk back. I would sprint back as much as I can to try and resolve me just sort of walking away from it. And I know it's a cliche phrase, but play to the whistle. Don't just give up instantly. It was just sort of poor to really see, and you wouldn't expect that sort of thing from a level. But then on to Vincent Kompany got a goal. We all sort of like when he gets a goal. We know we've had many injuries over the last couple of years, not playing as many games as he wants to, defenders coming in, but he still worked hard at the club.
Yeah, and on that point, I think it's great for him personally, because he's kind of stuck with it,
Definitely.
Being injured. Seeing all these world-class defenders kind of take his position up in the pecking order, and it must be really hard for him looking and thinking, I'm injured, I can't play at the moment, but to be able to play in a Carling Cup final, score a goal for a team that you've played for the last 5 years, and to get to lift the trophy, I think that's just a brilliant moment for him, and he deserves it, to be honest.
And then not long after that, David Silva got a goal. Don't quite remember that. I think he hit it far post or something. I think it was a nice little goal. And we were discussing earlier that sort of Sam was saying about how it's sort of, even though they buy all these big players, you still get, the classic City players of Aguero, Company, and Silva still getting the goals and, proving how well. And I don't even think Bravo, not Ederson, Bravo, who got the assist for Aguero's goal. I didn't even think he really had to make any saves. I don't think City were too much under pressure. But it was still... what I do find interesting, I know sometimes players, they're like, they're cup players, so the likes of Ederson will not play in the cup. Yeah. But I still would have thought in the final they might have played their best players. So both teams, they played Bravo and Ospina. I just would have thought, well, you're in a cup final. Would you not want to play Cech or Ederson?
Yeah, I see what you mean. 'Cause there's a few examples of this really, because I actually think that Edison is a better keeper than Bravo, and I might
Likewise.
potentially do that in the cup final. But I think it could be something in the contract, and it could just be rewarding the player for playing in all the cup matches. Because I remember when Swansea got to the Carling Cup final, we weren't playing Michel Vorm, our top keeper, first keeper. We were playing Gerhard Tremmel, and he played all the way to the final, and that was kind of because he was playing in every game. So that kind of, as a reward,
I guess it just makes sense, sort of they put all that effort in, they've done well in the cup, just to sort of throw them out the last minute.
Yeah.
That would sort of make it sense. And at the end of the day, they're all professional keepers.
Yeah.
They're all going to be of a high level, and that sort of happens in the cup. So, well, I don't know. I say that looking at City's lineup, I don't really see many players that I would say, they definitely don't start in the league.
And it was interesting to see Jesus come on. Was that his first time?
Yeah, I think so. Back when he got that injury,
I can't remember now.
I think he cried when he had that injury.
Yeah,
I think he knew how
devastating,
crucial just to have it. Probably his first big injury, but just how much it's going to affect his game time at City. But it's so competitive. If he wants to be playing week in, week out, he's got to be putting in really good performances, because he got the likes of like Aguero and Sane all sort of competing for those front three up front.
Yeah, and then on Arsenal, I think lots of people were saying that they didn't turn up, and I would have to agree with it. They just didn't seem like they were determined enough to win, and they kind of were a bit lazy almost, especially that Mustafi goal just seemed a bit like they weren't pumped up for it. And I know sometimes you could be a bit too pumped up for it, like the Joe Hart at the World Cup, or the Euros.
Yeah.
Everyone was saying he was too pumped up, but it looked like Arsenal weren't even pumped up for it. So I think Manchester City kind of had the win as they started, even.
I'm just looking at the stats here, just only 5 shots compared to City 12, 43 possessions, 57. Only 2 shots on target from Arsenal, but then only 3 from City, to be fair, and obviously they scored all those 3. But yeah, it was just sort of one of those games where, because one of my friends was there, he supports Arsenal, he was meant to come to the People's Cup with us actually, and he got tickets, and I don't blame him for going to watch his team.
Is he an Arsenal fan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said in one of those sort of typical Arsenal performances where they put a half decent lineup out, and you feel like, well, they're going to do some good here, and then it just sort of doesn't really work out, and it's sort of those same little areas. Sometimes it's the commitment. It's not being strong enough, not playing to the whistle. It just, I always feel with Arsenal, it's hard to sort of pinpoint their main problem. It's just always little. It's always been a striker over the years, and they sort it out, and then a goalkeeper, and then they sort it out.
But defensive midfielder, yeah.
Exactly. But there's the performances still just have these errors, and it's just confusing why it just keeps on happening.
Yeah, indeed. Well, seeing that Manchester City did win the Carling Cup, we asked on Twitter whether they could win the double or the treble or not, because of course they can't win the quadruple anymore because they went out to Wigan. But they're still in the Champions League. Of course, they're way ahead in the Premier League, and of course now they've won the EFL Cup. So the results of the poll were as follows. There was 12 people that voted, and
not bad.
42% of people said yes, Manchester City would go on to win the treble, but 58% people said no, they wouldn't go on to win the treble.
Yeah, and I think I voted no. You'd voted no in this, didn't you, Sam?
Yes, I voted no as well, yeah.
And my sort of justification for that was I feel that City always seem to do well against the top teams, which would then make sense if Champions League are playing against the top teams, they're going to do well. But I just think there's so many top teams out there, and I just feel if they're... I understand in the league, every now and again you might get a draw against Everton, you may have an odd loss against one of the higher teams in the league, but then that shock defeat against Wigan really, really shocked me, and I still just so confused how that really happened. And
Will Griggs on fire.
I know Pep was furious with it, and he was there were things in the tunnel going on. I got a feeling he may have not done his post-match interview or something, or there's some problem with it anyway, and it was really confusing why. And I just thought, well, if they're going to make mistakes like that, I don't feel they've got that sort of consistency to bring it into Europe.
Yeah,
because every now and again they do grind out results, and they have hard-fought results. Especially there's a stage where they had 3 or 4 games. It might have been sides against like West Brom or something, where strong defensive structure, and they just got there. But I feel that if they're just getting there against those lower teams, when it comes to a team who are then going to put the pressure on them, can they handle it defensively? Attacking, yes, they beat most teams, but defensively, I don't know if they can hold off some of those top strikers out there. Like if they come up against Juventus with like Higuain, I don't know if they can really hold it against them. So that's why I sort of voted no. I can understand why people said yes, but yeah, I think that thing against Wigan as well sort of threw me off a little bit.
But are there many teams in the Champions League that you can see kind of attacking against Manchester City right from the off? Because Manchester City are the form team in Europe at the moment. I mean, yes, Barcelona are very good at the moment, Juventus are very good, but would they really take it to Manchester City? Would they kind of play them at their own game, or would they actually end up kind of playing into the hands of Manchester City? That is a good question there, really.
That's interesting, but I don't think they need to. I think, say Barcelona came out against City, I could see City playing the way they do, and I could see Barcelona defending well against them, and when they come to the attack, they're not going to overload the attack. But I just feel if they've got Suarez, Messi, Coutinho coming at them, even if it's not their if it's not like, oh, we're going to counter attack, we're going to play against them, they're just playing how they play. I just think those three against they've got Ederson, Otamendi, probably Stones, Walker and Danilo. I don't really see that matching the sort of quality that Barcelona have in the side.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I think they're struggling in Champions League. I think they've definitely won the league.
Yeah, well, they are.
They've got the League Cup. I think they're struggling in Champions League. They're going to get far though. They will. They're a great team.
Yeah, they're 13 points clear at the moment from Manchester United, and I think it's basically the question is, can they win the Champions League? And we'll just have to see what happens really and how it unfolds.
That's the main focus.
Yeah. So we did a question last week as well, and that question was to Jake, and it was, which nation has got the most clubs that have won the Champions League? Which nation has won the most Champions Leagues in terms of its clubs located within it?
Yeah, so I had a think about this. I remember seeing ages ago in some football magazine or some annual book, and it says it said something like when the Champions League was first around, it was called the European Cup. I think Real Madrid won the first 5, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I know that Italy, sort of as their teams in Italy, have won a lot. And I know Spain have won a lot recently, so I was sort of tied between the two, but I just feel that Real Madrid every now and again have been that dominant force, and with Barcelona as well. So I've decided to go with Spain as my answer.
You are correct, yes. Spain has had 17 victories in either the European Cup, as it was known, or the UEFA Champions League.
17, that's a lot. Who's second, you know?
It's Italy, joined with England. Yeah.
Joined with England?
Yeah, with 12.
12?
Yeah, and Germany are a long way down. They're fourth, but they have only got 7.
To be fair, I don't have I know Dortmund have only been sort of more recently up there.
Yeah,
have Bayern always?
Bayern haven't always been the biggest team in Germany. And they've struggled in recent years in Europe. I mean, they did get that Champions League final against Dortmund, but before that it was Schalke and Stuttgart, kind of the big teams, but I don't think they ever had menacing European sides ever. But yeah, it's an interesting thought about how German sides don't do that great in the Champions League ever.
And my question, as another topical one, similar to the FA Cup one I said a couple of weeks ago, and it is simply, who has won the most League Cups or EFL Cups? So an interesting one. I think I was slightly surprised by the answer, but it's not as many as the FA Cup, which is 13 by Arsenal.
Okay.
So it's a bit lower. It's a bit more of a range.
Of course, if you would like to get involved in answering the question, you can do so by tweeting us at Box Commentary or sending us a quick little email, which is thecommentary.box.contact@gmail.com.
Yes, get involved. So what are we on to now?
we are going to be talking about a bit about the People's FA Cup, I think.
Yeah, I think if any of you have done it, well done. Firstly, hope it all went well. We took part in it. We had a team of Heathwood Athletic, and our, it's sort of a bunch of friends, mainly from our school, one from outside, and we played. It's a total of 5 games. We scored 6 goals. Which, if I give you that stat, you think, you might have done all right.
Yeah.
And then if I told you that we lost every game, you might have not thought so much. But
yeah, including a few 6-0s and
7-0s. I think there was a 7-0 and then a 6-0 to start off with. We did some tactics and brainstorm. We changed it around to a more defensive but a wider stretch formation. And we had a game that I think we lost 3-1 or 4-1 against sort of older guys. A bit slower, so we had a bit more chance to roam, and then we played another where we sort of kept the same formation, and Sam was playing more of a target man role.
Fernando Llorente,
yeah,
big
physical striker, and I sort of played sort of a centre mid role in a way, and I normally play in goal, but I like to play outfield. It was more enjoyable. So one of our mates went a goal. Yeah, he had some experience from 6-a-side from his work.
But yeah, it was a great day out. We there was 6 teams in total at Gillingham, because we went up to Gillingham to go play. So it's quite a journey, quite a journey. And of course, I think there's about 1,000 or 10,000 teams, do they say, or 1,000 teams across the country taking part, from all ages, male, female, if you're disabled or able-bodied, and it was just a brilliant day out. Really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to anyone next year.
Definitely.
And though we lost every game, we got a nice photo with a pretend FA Cup, and we chanted we're going to Wembley a few times, but it was a great day out, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, no, it was really, really good. We did have a game where I got a hat trick. Yeah,
I got 2 goals as well.
Yeah,
not in one game, but
remember that we got some hat tricks, got some goals, a couple of skill runs. It was really good. A hard fought. We were winning at 1.32 in a game, so don't let that slip off your memory.
No.
But no, yeah, like Sam was saying, I definitely recommend it. It's all free. Like one of the main things that's really good. We went up together. We went in different cars, all our mates. It was really, really good fun. Great day out. Would highly recommend it. And now we're going to start looking for more sort of tournaments or things that we can try and get involved in, because it's good for fitness, good for enjoyment, and we all love playing football. So that's sort of everything we want to get involved with.
Yeah. And I think it's perfect what the FA and the BBC are doing, because it gets people involved, and hopefully us talking about it now will get you involved as well. So.
Yeah, it'd be good. So just sort of a last little bit before we do end, just to sort of recap on our clubs, if a way. So as I'm a Gillingham fan, we had a tricky start to the season. We sacked our manager, got a new one in, and started to do a lot better. And lately we just sort of dipped off form, but our manager did get manager of the month for January, so that's sort of a recap. So we're sort of sitting mid-table, not too far for the playoffs, but it's a better season than we started. Very happy.
I'm guessing
right now.
That's in response to some of the comments on our previous podcast.
Yeah, that's for one of our viewers out there.
The Southend fans, yeah.
Yeah, Southend could be a club which is up there.
Fans. But on Swansea's case, we turned a corner, of course, under Carvajal, looking great now. Hopefully the Brighton game was just a blip. We've got tomorrow, for you, yesterday, on Tuesday, we're playing Sheffield Wednesday on the TV.
8:05, not 8 o'clock again.
Yeah, not 8 o'clock, 8:05, so I'll be watching that yesterday. So...
How was the result?
Yeah, I don't know yet, but I'm assuming it's a great one, yeah.
I'm sure it was.
That RU goal, that was a brilliant goal.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, and the goalkeeper's mistake, that was just horrendous by the Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But yes, of course, that brings us to an end now. Thank you for listening to the commentary box. We have enjoyed it today, haven't we?
Yeah, very, very good.
Of course, if you would like to get in contact with us with any questions you have, anything you want us to mention about football, you can do by tweeting us at Box Commentary, or you can contact us via our email, which is thecommentary.box.contact@gmail.com. I think that's it. So we shall see you next week.
See you then.